I guess it's natural for parents to cry on their kids' first day of school.
Low-hand narration.
I know what you're thinking. Homeschooled kids are freaks.
That's assumptionist.
Except for the fact that both my parents are research zoologists and we spent the last 12 years in Africa.
Despite there being plenty of developed cities on the continent, Hollywood continues to push this same visual stereotype about Africa. So here are 12 sins for being lazy and derivative.
I had a great life. But then my mom got offered tenure at Northwestern University.
Wait, did they tell you the news during this picture? Also, having read some of the requirements for getting tenure at Northwestern University, I'm not sure how Katie's mom got it by working the last 12 years out in the wild as a research zoologist. Isn't one of the big criteria of getting tenure, like, actually teaching at the college? Holy shit, that bus is definitely going faster than the 15-mile-per-hour limit. That bus driver is fucking fired.
I'm okay. Sorry. I'll be careful.
Saying you'll be careful as you step back into the very same roadway that almost killed you a second ago.
She just moved here all the way from Africa.
Welcome. I'm from Michigan.
Every single character will continue to refer to Africa as a monolith for the entire movie. It feels like there's supposed to be a joke in here about America's ignorance of geography, but the movie made this joke instead, so it feels more like the writer's ignorance of comedy. Yes, silicon is an element, but silicone is not. Katie walks through the cafeteria looking for a seat, and we see her being unable to because all the tables are clicky. But there are a number of non-clicky tables in this cafeteria that the movie neglects, and this has to be the smallest cafeteria I have ever seen in any movie. There have to be scores of kids who don't get to sit down because of its size.
I had a lot of friends in Africa. Jumbo!
I realize Katie has spent 12 years in nondescript Africa, but she can't be this fucking clueless, right? That is no excuse for assuming that all people of color speak Swahili. It's pretty unbelievable that the attractive Katie couldn't find any table willing to give her a seat. The movie just assumes that everyone is an asshole because she's new. Also, my high school self found plenty of lonely places to eat before resorting to the bathroom.
Nice wig, Janice. What's it made of?
Your mom's chest hair.
Lizzie Kaplan, national treasure, ladies and gentlemen.
Do you guys know where room G14 is?
Room G14 appears to be a gymnasium, and if that is what the G stands for, I'll send the 14.
That one there, that's Karen Smith. She is one of the dumbest girls you will ever meet.
While plenty of supporting evidence will be supplied later in the movie, right here we are asked to take her inability to catch as a sign of her stupidity. And we are all now grateful Stephen Hawking didn't go to North Shore High School.
Evil takes a human form in Regina George.
Oh look, it's the iconic Regina George being carried to gym class like Cleopatra scene. Oh, did I say iconic? I meant strange and unnecessary.
How do I even begin to explain Regina George?
Regina George is flawless.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Famous scene and all, but is this Katie going around interviewing people about Regina George? Or did a documentary crew show up today to do a film about her? On one hand, Katie isn't nearly confident enough yet to go around asking questions like this, so I'm ruling that out. And while I can't rule out the documentary crew, I'm going to chalk this up to the movie cheating to get more jokes in. Oh, hey, look at the main characters thinking they can walk 3 wide in the hallway. I don't care who you are. If you do this kind of thing, you. This ain't NASCAR. You're not Cole Trickle trying to pass at Daytona. You're just being a traffic obstructing asshole, and I hate you.
Here. This map is going to be your guide to North Shore. Now, where you sit in the cafeteria is crucial.
It's the beginning of the school year, but it sounds like this cafeteria arrangement is just a known fact, as if year to year the same students go to lunch at the same time without regard for their grade or classes they take. This is either a deceptively small high school that can accommodate every student at lunch, or it's a giant sprawling high school that would have to stagger lunch times based on a number of criteria, and having unbroken cliques that dominate all the lunch tables is impossible under that situation. Also, later we'll get a reckoning for the burn book, but it's this hand-drawn map that's too problematic to dismiss on account of Janice being quirky that will gently fade into the annals of history. Also, Janice wrote, "You are here on a map that will be mobile for the most part."
Asian nerds, cool Asians, unfriendly black hotties.
This movie says, hey, look at race so many times in the first 10 minutes that I want to believe it was taking a big swing here and thought it was going to be some kind of Blazing Saddles Clueless mashup. However, it seems at some point that was all abandoned for the singular joke of, isn't it funny that this white girl with no accent is from Africa?
Girls who eat their feelings.
Okay, so I'm assuming these girls who eat their feelings are represented by the upper left box on this map. But what is this table directly behind them? And the wannabes are supposed to be located on the top edge of the cafeteria, not between the thin girls and the plastics, which this camera roving around the cafeteria is showing.
Is your muffin buttered?
What?
Would you like us to assign someone to butter your muffin?
Movie will continue to make time for Jason, so I'll just give him 3 cents now and the occasional this f***ing guy along the way.
Oh, I know what homeschool is. I'm not
Man, Rachel McAdams must have had serious deja vu when making this film, because a couple years before, this movie was called The Hot Chick.
I've only had one other crush in my life. His name was Nafume, and we were 5.
Oh, f off with this being your only other crush. You're telling me after the age of 5, you just stopped feeling things because this one kid rejected you? 11 years went by and you never saw another person you liked?
Girl World had a lot of rules.
You can't wear a tank top 2 days in a row.
It's kind of surprising that the plastics don't give a shit about the style of shirt Katie decided to wear today. Sure, they told her that the rule was pink on Wednesday, but I can't imagine they'd be happy about Katie wearing Damien's oversized Lacoste shirt, considering all the other rules. The best thing about a cafeteria scene is all the Coke products you can jam into it.
We participate in math challenges against other high schools around the state, and we can get twice as much funding if we've got a girl.
This funding scheme sounds like it was designed by Coach Carr and therefore requires more explanation to be considered not sinful.
Being at Old Orchard Mall kind of reminded me of being home in Africa, by the watering hole, when the animals are in heat.
Oh, really, Katie? Because I've watched at least 1.5 videos on watering holes, and it looks like the animals go there to, I don't know, drink water and maybe bathe in it. If you're seeing that at the mall, you went to the wrong mall. And the stuff she's imagining happening at the mall fountain doesn't even appear to happen at a watering hole, so I don't know what she's been watching over the years.
Hello, may I please speak to Taylor Waddell?
She's not home yet. Who's calling?
Oh, this is Susan from Planned Parenthood. I have her test results. If you could have her give me a call as soon as she can.
So this scene makes it sound like Taylor won't be able to date anymore because Taylor's mom has absolutely no critical thinking skills. But this will easily be debunked when Taylor gets home. And in fact, we will see her hanging out with Jason at a later party, and this prank didn't work at all. So maybe this just serves as an example of Regina being mean, of which the movie has plenty of examples and doesn't need. This is a terrible use of wall space. There's an Avril Lavigne poster up and then a halfway hidden Strokes poster overlapping it. You've got all this space in the room and you chose to do this.
At least you guys can wear halters. I've got man shoulders.
I saw a man wearing a halter top in 2003, so this attempt at self-deprecation is strapless.
Is there alcohol in this?
Oh, God, honey, no. What kind of mother do you think I am? Why, do you want a little bit?
Amy Poehler gives this movie another send-off.
That is for your feet.
Chekhov's foot cream.
I hope you do join Mathletes, because we start in a couple weeks, and I would love to have a girl on the team, just, so the team could meet a girl.
That's funny, but there are plenty of girls in Katie's calculus class, and I somehow doubt the dynamic Kevin Napor has had any trouble meeting girls in his life. In fact, Kevin is so awesome, I can't believe there aren't girls from other schools wanting to join the team.
It's a factorial, so you multiply each one by n.
The correct answer to this whole you plus me equals us situation is x equals scoop. Ah!
That's a scary mask, bro.
Did they not let the wardrobe department read the script? Because the physical reality of Katie's costume in no way matches everyone's response to it. I can't prove anything, but I'm pretty sure there's nothing around this TV that can play the large number of CDs that would justify them being stacked in this area. Underneath the TV is an N64 system, which famously did not play CDs. And there are no games anywhere. The VCR on the left side might have a dual DVD system that can also play CDs, but all the movies in the frame are VHS tapes, and it would be weird to have a DVD player and no DVDs. Not entirely sure where everything is plugged in, since this is the middle of the room and the VCR doesn't appear to be connected to the TV with an RCA cable. Seeing 2 remotes at the TV and nowhere near the couch pisses me off, and someone needs to explain why the Harry Potter VHS cover doesn't have a tape in it and is nowhere to be found. Damien and Janice scream and all the popcorn goes flying out of the bowl, and then the scene cuts to Katie being upset because Regina stole Aaron from her. And when it cuts back, Damien has a full bowl of popcorn and even has a couple kernels in his mouth. Now there are suddenly a ton more VHS cases everywhere, but no f***ing tapes inside them, and the CDs have vanished.
I knew how this would be settled in the animal world.
The wild thing is that this rabid fight looks an awful lot like the girl fight that took place in front of my locker one morning between second and third period. Well, there was a whole lot more blood. What I'm saying is that Katie's assertion that Girl World doesn't allow for Thunderdome is kind of bullshit. It's one thing for Regina to be cool with the holes Janice cut in her shirt, but it's another thing entirely to treat it as a naturally occurring phenomenon. Also, everyone responds to this by turning their tops into lactation shirts, and I believe there is a transitive property that allows me to say the sin is kids.
This is ass, you guys. It's been a month and all we've done is make Regina's face smell like a foot.
No, you made it smell like peppermint. Aaron even mentioned it right after Regina started using the cream.
We're doing a dance to this song.
Jingle Bell Rock. They do it every year.
You mean the Plastics do this sexy Jingle Bell Rock dance every year? Like, as in, they've done it for at least 3 years and probably more? How long has this crew been going to high school? Did they do this in junior high as well? That's pretty f***ing sickening.
Vintage. So adorable. Thanks. That is the ugliest effing skirt I've ever seen. Oh my God, I love your bracelet. Where did you get it?
Apparently only now does Katie realize that Regina is an extremely dishonest person.
My man, he doth bestride the narrow world like a colossus, might translate into, why is he so huge and obnoxious?
Why, movie you doth believe the teachings of Shakespeareus beeth not the most cliché scenest about English classes.
Glen Coco,
fall for you, Glen Coco. You go, Glen Coco.
Making Glenn Coco instantly the most interesting character and then sidelining him the rest of the movie.
Let's hear it for Damien.
Based on everything Daniel Franzese has given to this character so far, this scene could have given Damien his literal center stage moment. But instead, the script takes us backstage and only returns to throw a shoe at him. Also, Jesus Christ, man, even the Lean On Me high school wouldn't have allowed somebody to throw a shoe at someone during a talent show or let them go unpunished. While putting some rhymes together that I believe are supposed to be a rap, Kevin asserts that he is James Bond III, from which I asked the question, is there James Bond II? And the internet replied with the knowledge of the James Bond Jr. cartoon from 1991. And in the intro to that, they rhyme that he learned the game from his Uncle James. Now, how can he be the junior to his Uncle James? And since I don't want to besmirch the name of Mrs. Bond, I'm going to tack on 2 sins for poor rhyming quality and move right the f*** on.
Gretchen, switch sides with Katie.
But I'm always on your left. The whole dance will be backwards.
Actually, only the one part required for a malfunction will be affected by this change. And that is super necessary for Katie's character arc. So if you could be a team player, that would be great. This inappropriately sexy dance number requires the plastics to play a CD on a boombox for the entire auditorium. Rather than having the CD get played through the PA system Mr. Duvall has clearly been using. That shit is not mic'd up or anything. What kind of Mickey Mouse operation is this? Also, did somebody walk by here and put in the CD with Jingle Bell Rock on it? Sure wasn't any of the plastics, and Kevin just used the stereo for his rap. Why would there be someone responsible for changing out the music here but not be the ones to press play when the new act got on stage? Why does Gretchen have to do it? This is a huge boombox that Gretchen somehow kicks 5 feet off the stage and into Jason's face. Fucking Lionel Messi couldn't have kicked this boombox that hard.
Jason?
Sure, we should be concerned about asshole Jason, and I hope that asshole is okay. But once everyone decides that a concussion isn't worth stopping the talent show over, why doesn't anyone bother to see if they can get the stereo working again? Becomes this big moment for Katie when she leads them a cappella, but apparently the stereo is just unfixable and no one even bothers to check.
Because that's not what Rome is about. We should totally just stab Caesar!
Everyone is cool with Gretchen giving this rant in class. But when I do the same thing in Denny's at 2 a.m., they call the cops. Aaron can't open the door to the projection room for some reason, probably because it's locked, but it stays closed long enough for Regina to hide just before Aaron miraculously opens the door that was either locked or conveniently jammed. What are the chances that Coach Carr and this student would pick the exact same time and exact same place Regina and Shane were meeting for their sex romps? Also, all the characters just move on with their lives as if no crime was committed and Damien wasn't pretending to steal purses. This movie is not absurd enough to just let everything slide.
No, we just have to regroup. Think outside our box.
What are Caltine bars?
My mom used to give them to the kids in Africa to help them gain weight.
Deus Ex Malnutrition.
That Katie girl is hot. She might even be hotter than Regina George.
I hear Regina George is dating Aaron Samuels again. The two were seen canoodling at Chris Iso's Halloween party.
I think it's hilarious that in the middle of this interview footage from the Phantom documentary crew, everyone is talking about Katie until it gets to Principal Duvall, who provides us with months-old intel on Aaron and Regina. And while I find this funny, why is this here? Why did the Phantom documentary crew insert this old dating update in the middle of people talking about Katie? This trash gag doesn't obey the laws of physics at all. The only logical results of running into this trash can should involve it falling over and possibly you jawing yourself on the rim as you fall over it.
I don't get this. Do you get any of this?
Nice job, Katie.
Kinda seems like you get it.
Yeah, but the graded tests that Ms. Norbury is handing out would concern a different facet of calculus from the one that they're currently studying, right? Between the test and the page of the textbook Katie is on, they appear to be different areas of study. Furthermore, I'm calling bullshit on Aaron being this dumb for this long about Katie's calculus prowess. Even more, furthermore, why did Katie ask this question when Ms. Norbury was handing out graded tests that she knows are going to contradict her claim of calculus dumbfuckery? Also, the date on this test is October 14, but we already had a Halloween party and a Christmas talent show.
Not your best.
Why does Ms. Norbury hand out tests that have a score on them, but nothing to explain what was wrong? It's almost like she's giving subjective Olympic scores on these tests based on how pretty Katie's handwriting is. And Ms. Norbury is clearly on the take because that handwriting is immaculate. Also, you'd think Ms. Norbury would be concerned that a top student like Katie is suddenly making 68s on tests, but apparently she'd rather give withering comments about it instead. Also, it's miraculously gone from October 14th to March 20th from the time Katie got the 98 score, decided to take tests on purpose, and the 68 score.
Katie, all I've been eating are these Caltine bars. They suck.
Kind of ridiculous that once the Caltine bars started making Regina gain any weight whatsoever, this conversation didn't happen until now, even though her weight gain was being noticed long before this.
I need your parents to sign this so they know that you're failing.
Oh, so you actually mark up tests now and tell the kids where they went wrong?
You let it out, honey. Put it in the book.
Oh, the book is a thing now. Remember when Karen found this?
Oh my god, I remember this.
sounded like a thing they did many years ago in middle school, but stopped. And sure, Regina wanted to put Katie's insult about Damien in there, but we haven't heard anything about this book since Katie told Janice about it. Leaving your donuts out in a big bowl so that they can get stale ASAP.
These sweatpants are all that fits me right now.
I actually can't believe that Regina hasn't looked to outside sources about Caltine bars yet.
That's where you're going, fat ass!
While the degree of difficulty is pretty high when wrapping a joke about a person's weight inside a joke about another person's weight, the execution will generally receive low scores from the judges.
And this time when Aaron saw me, I wouldn't be caught in some ridiculous costume.
This lion acts like he hasn't seen her plenty of times in the leading up to this party. They have the same math class and the Halloween party was months ago.
I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I only date women of color.
Oh, really? What was this then?
I'd rather see you out there shaking that thing.
Janice will later claim to be Lebanese, and that will be good enough for Kevin. But how the would you know that just by looking?
No, don't tell me to shut up.
What is this? You dirty little liar.
If only the rest of the movie could have progressed as efficiently as the last 30 seconds of dramatic plot dominoes. Thankfully, there is no visible vomit on Aaron, but then the sound effects team for this movie disagrees about the existence of vomit.
You are a mean girl!
Even without the pluralization, that's a rolling of the credits.
All right, chlamydia. K-L-A.
I mean, yeah, that's funny and all, but how does Coach Carr spell gonorrhea correctly if he's the clueless sex education teacher this movie thinks he is? Somehow, distributing photocopies of the book doesn't undermine Regina's plan to frame Katie and the other plastics. This single action makes the whole thing look premeditated, and we're just supposed to accept the school administration and the script just ignoring that?
Don Schweitzer has a huge ass? Who would write that?
Oh, but apparently the fat virgin part of that page is totally okay.
Frank Pack made out with Coach Carr? And so did Sun Jin Din.
Kind of amazing they got the context, actually, since Regina mostly threw these burn book pages randomly all over the floor. And we saw one of the Sun Jin Din pages taped up on a locker all by itself with no way of knowing what she did. Plot convenience of falling down and seeing the one page that specifically refers to you. Ms. Norbury shouldn't be mad as much as she should play the lottery.
Yeah! Take your top off!
This fucking guy. The movie never goes far enough into punishing this character. I would have even settled for an after-credits scene where we see him die peacefully of old age, but the look in his eyes confirmed that he never truly knew the love of a good woman.
They've gone wild. The girls have gone wild.
Okay, that line got me, but getting that reference is also a sin. Since when does smashing the fire alarm set off the sprinkler system? Don't sprinklers react to heat and not the fire alarm itself? 2003 was a different time, but not so different that I believe this sign would be allowed by any school administration. Also, explain to me why the North Shore Lions would have a sign that says, E-Town Lions, make some noise. Who the is E-Town?
I don't care how long it takes. I will keep you here all night.
We can't keep them past 4.
I will keep you here until 4.
Tim Meadows is so awesome.
Okay, so what we could do today is a couple exercises to help you express your anger in a healthy way.
Ms. Norbury just has exercises ready to go, like she knew this day would come. Oof. We won't play what's being said because, frankly, the subtitle strongly suggests that we shouldn't. And even though there is evidence to suggest that the script and the subtitle are in disagreement, that is an argument I would prefer not to be in the middle of, so...
And some of us shouldn't have to take this workshop because some of us are just victims in the situation.
How many of you have ever felt personally victimized by Regina George?
I wouldn't put it past a teacher to do some shit like this, but this is singling out one of the students for scorn when the whole point of this is to try and heal. A simple sit back down Regina would suffice, Ms. Norbury.
Alyssa, I'm sorry I called you a gap-toothed bitch. It's not your fault you're so gap-toothed.
Maybe this is the point, but it seems like this exercise functions to air out more insults under the guise of apologies.
Do you even go to this school?
No, I just have a lot of feelings.
Me too! And all my feelings are asking me why the movie is wasting time on this.
You can take that fake apology and shove it right up your hairy...
How did no one see or hear this bus? How did the bus not at least see these girls? Why is a school bus of all vehicles not slowing down in a school zone? And why don't we find out what happened to the driver who definitely lost their job, their license, and may have gone to prison?
And that's how Regina George died. No, I'm totally kidding. But she did get hurt.
Not having the ovaries to follow through with the Final Destination nonsense you've written into your movie. Movie doesn't show us Katie eating that apple, but we all know why she got one for lunch today, and that's because she's an asshole. And might I say, not the first one to visit this toilet today.
Did your teacher ever try to sell you marijuana or ecstasy tablets?
No. What are marijuana tablets?
As funny as this is, societal progress means half the people watching right now laughed out loud, and the other half said edibles with a straight face. So it doesn't happen often, but tie goes to the sinner.
When you get bit by a snake, You're supposed to suck the poison out.
No. This is terrible advice, Katie. Do not willingly put venom in your mouth. Jesus Christ. Even when she's on the road to being a nice person, she ends up killing people. Regina's mom is a dick to her spine. Now we get your standard everyone getting ready for the dance montage because tonight is the first night of the rest of their lives or some shit.
There's nothing to break your focus, because not one of those Marymount boys is cute.
Not allowing for the subjectivity of love, or at least challenging someone on their claim of sapiosexuality.
Welcome to the Illinois High School Mathlete State Championship.
Nerd!
Twice the larger of two numbers is 3 more than 5 times the smaller, and the sum of 4 times the larger and 3 times the smaller is 71.
I don't mind the math, it's the English grammar that deserves a sin here.
Where's Katie?
She went out.
She's grounded.
A mathletes competition is not going out.
She's supposed to be grounded, but he let her out.
And they don't know where she went? How are we supposed to believe Katie wasn't eaten many years ago while out on safari? Also, this part of the plot doesn't even factor into anything anyway, so why is this a thing?
Why couldn't I remember anything about limits? Limits. That was the week Aaron got his haircut. Oh God, he looks so cute.
Oh, you, Katie. Even when you were failing, Ms. Norbury said.
You know what's weird about your quizzes, Katie, is that all the work is right and just the answers are wrong.
Meaning she shouldn't be having any issues with limits at all. If she's nervous, that's one thing. But to completely blank because she somehow doesn't remember what limits are? And she ends up getting the answer right, of course, but off.
How do you like me now?
Amazing.
Awesome. You win with the leather sleeves.
Kevin stated his desire to get jackets when he was explaining how a girl could get them more funding. So why has it been made to look as if the team getting these jackets was based on them winning the competition? Also, Ms. Norbury parks Kit like a real asshole.
Katie, you don't have to punish yourself forever.
Maybe not forever, but probably at least a couple of months, right, Ms. Norbury? Because we haven't seen her suffer any institutional consequences at all.
To all the people whose feelings that got hurt by the burn book.
Somehow the crowning of Spring Fling Queen doesn't turn into a Carrie reboot called Katie.
When I think about how many people wanted this, and how many people cried over it and stuff.
We've only seen you, Regina, and Gretchen express any actual interest in this, and there is zero proof of anyone crying. So what the f*** are you talking about?
A piece for Gretchen Wieners, a partial Spring Fling Queen.
She then throws pieces of the crown to Janice, to Regina, then this girl, and yet still somehow has more pieces to throw, and still more after that. How many throwable pieces can you make out of this crown? Like 7? I'm gonna go with 7.
Okay. Gruel.
And no one else was ever mean to each other again.
Regina's spine healed, and her physical therapist taught her to channel all her rage into sports.
It's damn near a medical miracle that she survived, and now we need to double down with the idea that she's fully recovered in enough time to be playing full-speed lacrosse by the following year. Also, I'm sure you can hit your opponent in lacrosse, but can you hit them in the face like Regina does here? Gretchen being my favorite colonizer.
I had gone from homeschool jungle freak to shiny plastic to most hated person in the world to actual human being.
Mean Girls adopts the fallacy that none of the things she mentioned before human being are still things human beings are.
And if any freshmen tried to disturb that peace, well, let's just say we knew how to take care of it.
What do you mean? Are you truly, actually Carrie White? You can't make people walk into a school bus. And why is this movie so obsessed with getting hit by school buses?
In my book, that's no good. You're going in the book.
This map is gonna be your guide to North Shore.
It's a map of Dragonstone.
She's a scum-sucking road horse. She ruined my life.
I loved it, Jerry. I loved it.
Let me give you my card.
Look at that subtle off-white coloring. The tasteful thickness of it. Oh my God, it even has a watermark.
Who throws a shoe? Honestly.
Not your best.
They used to call me Crazy Joe. Well, now they can call me Batman.
Did your teacher ever try to sell you marijuana or ecstasy tablets?
No.
What are marijuana tablets?
You can't OD on it.
It's not gonna make me want to have sex, is it?
It makes sex even better.
No, it's not really required of you to make a speech.
I'm almost done, I swear.
So, okay. Like right now, for example, the Haitians need to come to America.